Yo, how's it going, everyone? Welcome back to yet another Idleon Pay to Win Hater video. And in today's video, we're going to be covering the Cooking Mastery update. And then we're also going to be talking about some things that Lava had said about Fortune Mill. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. First off, with the Cooking Mastery, in order to actually unlock it, you need to go to the Rift in World 4, and you need to go all the way down to Tier 61 in order to actually unlock it. And then you will come over to the menu in World 4 Town, and on the right side over here, you'll be able to see the actual Cooking Mastery menu itself. Starting off with the ranks at the top and a experience meter right there next to it. So as you gain more levels or ranks, you will get one additional point to put into one of these the food flavors. So we got salty, spicy, sweet, smoky, probably be like sour at the bottom, stuff like that. So as you put points into these, you'll either get, well, from salty, spicy, sweet, you'll get additional cooking mastery experience. And then from the smoky one down at the bottom, you will actually get a chance to get +1 tier on your ribbons when you gain a ribbon. And then as you also gain these rank levels, you'll get points to spend on the actual menu on the left side over here. And so as you spend these points, it will give you a multiplicative increase onto your meals. So you can see at the bottom with the divorce cake, I have 1 point put in, and that's giving 1.17x. And then at the top here, I have the watermelon, and I have 6 points put in, and it's giving 1.55x. So as you put more and more points in, you start to get very strong diminishing returns. I think there's going to be a sweet spot of around probably 7 or 8 points put in, and then after that, you'll probably want to swap over to the next meal. Now, let me go ahead and say that these meals right here are not the best meals to do. I did this purely so I could show you the diminishing returns, and let's go into the next slide where I can actually show you the best meals to do. So this is a ribbon priority list created by Kuhaku. So using this list, you can pretty much use this also for the cooking mastery points. So you'll want to first out max the Yumi, and then you'll move down to the S ranks and the A ranks, etc. So you can use this picture to kind of help you decide what you need to upgrade next. And you just kind of go until you think you're good. I'm going to probably go until about 7 points on everything. That's just my personal, what I think is going to be good. Moving on to the next slide, we have the 5 different upgrades that Lava introduced into the game with the Cooking Mastery update. Starting at the top left, we have the arcade bonus. The top right, we have the salt lick bonus, which you can unlock by going into your construction tree and upgrading the salt lick building one time. And then in the middle, we have the research bonus, which you can unlock by going into the research board, and it's at the very middle, at the very bottom. You can get it right there. And then the vial bonus at the bottom right, which you can unlock by going to the kelpfish map and getting some spelunking pages. And then at the bottom left, we have the Zuperbit upgrade. So I personally feel like the Zuperbit, the vial bonus, and the salt lick bonus are out of place. I don't necessarily like that there's 5 different upgrades for Cook Mastery experience that just all flooded into the game at once. I feel like those 3 that I just mentioned, the salt lick, the vial, and the Zuperbit, I feel like those should have been something else. Those didn't really make sense being Cooking Mastery experience to me. I feel like, a World 7, the end of Worlds, or well, really middle of World 7 vial should not be for something for World 4. I don't know, that's just how I feel. But yeah, jumping into the next slide, we're going to be talking about the pack. So first off, I'm going to go ahead and say I feel like this pack is not super strong. It just provides this pet pretty much, which gives 3x Cook Mastery experience, and it gives +5 Cooking Mastery points. So first off, Cooking Mastery, it's going to be something that we don't check on very much going into the future. Like, we're going to check on it probably a lot over the first 2 weeks, and then after that, we might check it once a week, honestly. Like, it's not going to be something that you pay much attention to. I don't think he really should have made a pet for this, honestly. I feel like this is kind of just like the fact that he made a pet for this is a little scummy. It's just showing that he's trying to make a pet for every small thing in the game at this point, because this is a side system of a skill. Like, that's pretty much what it is. So, but overall, I feel like this pack is not actually exceptionally strong. It's not necessary to buy it. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna leave it with. Going into some of the stuff that Lava had actually said about Fortune Mill. So first off, at the very top, he starts with saying, my idea with the postmortem, saying Fortune Mill, is to put it simply, is to make it 100% about Idleon, as was my intention strangely enough. And he said more to what I was saying before, the real plan behind the game, which I will hopefully, and again, I mean this is not to build hype, hence why I'm not making it official, but to hopefully talk about it sometime in the future, at which point I think people will connect the dots. So it sounds like he had more planned behind Fortune Mill. He had more plans to like kind of integrate it into Idleon. I'm not sure if that means like maybe carrying over account things from Fortune Mill to Idleon. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure what it could mean. But he said a bit more, so let's go into it. So he says at the top, why is a random spin-off game defining Lava's career? That is the opinion many have, and trust me, it really does make sense why people would think that. Thank you. I'm sure I am one of those people that think that. He goes on to say, and the reason is the meat of the announcement didn't really happen. Either I will never make it public, or you'll eventually see me talk about it, but I will absolutely not be hyping it up, only saying it here since people here are, heavily invested players. He was in the in-game chat, so he was talking about the in-game people, who probably care a bit more about this conceptually than a gen chatter. And this is part of what I really want to say one day. If you thought, wait, Lava is honestly not the kind of guy who would genuinely say his career is defined by a, now with New Game Plus, 10-hour spin-off game. It really was because of the meat I never ended up talking about. You'll either hear about it within the next year or never. So it sounds like he does have something planned behind Fortune Mill that was kind of supposed to be the main thing. Like it sounds like his 13 years of experience that he was talking about, like what he was actually planning that for, it sounds like he didn't actually introduce that yet. That's almost what it sounds like he's saying, which it brings me to think, like, why even say his culmination of 13 years of experience? Like he shouldn't have said that. He should have waited until whatever he was actually, putting out with this, the meat. He should have waited for that before he actually started talking about that. Because I feel like whatever he does, I'm heavily interested. Don't get me wrong, I am heavily interested. Lava is a great game designer. He has made a masterpiece in Idleon. I know he has the abilities. He just has to actually take the time, and he has to have the patience to make something amazing. I believe in him personally. So yeah, I don't know. Hopefully he does do something great with this. Hopefully it's not like he talks about it now and then it just never actually happens. Like 3 years down the line, we still have no clue about anything with this. I'm hoping it actually does happen. So jumping into the last slide, I have some scores on the side. So the pay to win score is a 3 out of 10, lower score being better, and then a update score 6.5 out of 10. Because I feel like this update, it's good to have an extra side system into the game, but it doesn't actually bring any additional fun into the game. It's something we're going to check once a week. That's just how it is. And then at the bottom, Lava went on to say, what exactly would people want from World 5 Pets? So that's a little bit of a hint into probably an update that we're going to be getting relatively soon. It might not necessarily be the next update, but it might be the one after that. We never know. But anyways, that's all I got for today. So thank you for watching. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace.